Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you tonight for early evening going into evening time for Megan Thee Stallion's new album Megan that I got a chance to listen to for myself to see what I was going to think of this record overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 18 tracks on this record, which is over 50 minutes long. It's 52 minutes and some seconds, and let you know my thoughts on Megan Thee Stallion's album Megan. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with the first track, which came out at the beginning of this year, Hiss, and it's basically a diss track to Nicki Minaj, apparently. I actually did like her flow in this. I think she killed it with this rap. In my opinion, this was actually pretty good. I mean, lyrically, it's a little cluttery lyrically, meaning cringy lyrics from time to time, but I think she perfected it with what she wanted to diss about and why she made the song particularly towards Nicki Minaj. And then she came out with Bigfoot, and that was such a flop. Nicki Minaj did, and that was a big diss flop in a way. So she failed miserably trying to diss Megan Thee Stallion, and Megan Thee Stallion won that diss, basically. But honestly, I think with what I thought of this song, it was pretty good. So 4.75 out of 5. I mean, some cringy lyrics, but it was dope. Rattle actually was a pretty good song for a regular track, and I think this is pretty good. Lyrically, it's hit or miss, but it's fine for what it is. So 4.75 out of 5. Figaro, decent track, but I don't know. This one I wasn't really connecting with too much because it got a little repetitious with how Megan Thee Stallion was repeating herself with the same lyric. Uh, and it just was like, just not crazy for it too much, but it performed decently in its own way. So 4 out of 5. Where Them Girls At is very annoying of a track. I did not like this song. And I'll tell you why, because the repetition with the Where Them Girls At thing got so annoying, and just the way she was rapping some of the time, there were some moments where I was feeling for it, but it's the repetitious chorus that got on my fucking nerves. I just couldn't stand, so 2.75 out of 5 for Where Them Girls At. It was a flop. Broke His Heart is meh. It's not the best track, but it's in the middle with me. I mean, some of this song, execution wise, performed in just playing it a little too safe, and it did okay in some areas, but then it was kind of mid a little later on in the track with how it was performing this track, so it was mid. So 3 out of 5. In my opinion, it is. Both Ain't Shit featuring Kyle Rich actually was an okay track. Kyle Rich, I wasn't really feeling for his rap, honestly. It sounded cringy in a way, and I just wasn't connecting with how his vocal performance was with his rapping. It just didn't interest me too much. It just didn't appeal to me in a good way. So basically, 3.25 out of 5. Megan Thee Stallion did okay in this track, but Kyle Rich couldn't save the track. Still, it's an okay track, but Kyle Rich kind of made it flop it to a degree. Not in the worst way, but in an okay way. So, Otaku Hot Girl. This is decent. Lyrically, it's a little repetitious, but it does have a catchy beat. I'll give it that. So, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. The arigato thing and all that, just landing in Kyoto and all that lyrics, arigato. It's basically a song about talking about her and being an anime fan and all that. So basically, it's an interesting track, and I kind of dig it in a way. So 4 out of 5. Find Out is okay of a song. Not one of the best tracks, but it performed okay. I mean, verse-wise with Megan Thee Stallion's rapping is solid, but it's the execution is the thing with how it performed for a short amount of time. So 3.25 out of 5. Boa is actually a song I really got into back in May. Really dug this track. Lyrically, it's playing it a little too safe with some of the cringy lyrics, but overall, I think with the bitch yo time up thing, and the bitches doing all that wah wah thing, it was kind of a fucked up video too, where the guy wasn't reading the rules of the game and all that, and then what happens is they get killed off in real life, and they're like, this is some bullshit. And then it really happens in the music video. It's fucked up, the music video, but entertaining music video, but still 4.75 out of 5 for Boa. Mamushi featuring Yuki Chiba. I wasn't a fan of this track. I was like, what the fuck is this song? This was not good, and not in a good way. But overall, it could have been a lot better. It's just the way it was sounding with the repetitious I'm gonna be a star thing, you a star, and repeating it so much got really annoying. Excuse me for 1 second, I gotta pause the video. Sorry about that, guys. Had to pause the video because I was getting a call from work or whatever asking to come in to do a shift. I didn't really feel like working today, but I will be in tomorrow for that, my job and all that. So basically, to continue where I left off, Mamushi is a 2.75 out of 5. Accent, it's going to get a 3.25 out of 5. I didn't hate this track, but I just think its execution was a little hit or miss in some areas. So yeah, and Glorilla's rapping and Megan Thee Stallion rapping, it was okay. It was okay. Then comes Paper Together featuring UGK. This one was actually above decent. I mean, there's some moments where I was liking UGK's rapping in it, and overall its execution was fair. So 4.25 out of 5 for this one. Spin featuring Victoria Monet. Victoria Monet I don't know, this song didn't really seem interesting at first, but she didn't sound that bad in this track. It's just, usually most of her songs that I've listened to are not very good from what I've listened to, but overall, 4.25 out of 5 for this track. Downstairs DJ is a decent song. I didn't hate it for how it sounded, but it was fine. So 4 out of 5 for this one. Had some interesting beats, and just Megan Thee Stallion's rapping is fair, at least. So Miami Blue is a pretty good song in its own way. I'm digging the guy that's rapping in the track too, and Megan Thee Stallion's rapping is interesting, but the thing is kind of annoying that she does. It's just like, okay, I don't know why you're doing that, but that's just kind of, yeah, this kind of way. But still, 4.75 out of 5 for Miami Blue. Worthy is going to get a mediocre rating of a 3.75 out of 5. This track's decent, almost decent at least. It's above average, but I just think it's in the middle between decent and above average. Like, it's between average and decent, so it's in the middle. But overall, I just think the overall track, how it sounded, was fine. It's not really my cup of tea, but it's alright. Moody Girl is okay for the second to last song for the record, but it has some strong points and it has its weak points with how the overall track is sounding in certain areas, like the verses or the chorus. The chorus is a little repetitious, but it's not a long song, so it's like under 3 minutes. But it closes out with a interesting fade in a way. So 3.25 out of 5. Cobra actually had some guitar riffs that I was really enjoying as the last song and the first single for this record. But overall, I think Megan Thee Stallion performed pretty well with this track. And this track did have some good guitar riffs mixed in with the hip hop beats and all that. So it was interesting production and all that with this track. So 4.75 out of 5 for the closing track, Cobra. Ends the album pretty well. It starts pretty good, ends pretty good, but there are certain songs in this record that don't do so great. And this is where I'm going to get to my critiques of the overall record. So overall, I think this record's meh. I think it tried, at least with certain songs, but two of the tracks really brought the rating down, and some of the 3 out of 5 tracks and all that. Give me a second, I gotta pause the video again. I am so sorry, guys, for having to pause the video again. My mom was calling me for a second. So, overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, this record is meh. I mean, Where Them Girls At and Mamushi were the only 2 songs I really disliked from this record that were the most disappointing. This wasn't the worst record this year, but it's not going to be something I'm going to be coming back to. I mean, certain songs maybe, yeah. The ones I got 4.75 out of 5 songs. Those tracks I could probably come back to, like Hiss, Rattle, what else? Boa. Then you have Miami Blue and Cobra. Those are the only tracks I could really come back to. That's probably about 5 or 6 songs from the record that I could most likely come back to. But overall, the record is kind of skippable in a way. I mean, she tried, but there were certain tracks that didn't execute too well, in my opinion. So for a score, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's a meh record. Not one of the best records this year, but at least it's not one of the worst records this year. So at least she at least tried with this album to do something creative, but it didn't execute too well, in my opinion. So 6 out of 10. It's kind of a mid album for me. It's in the mid section, so it's going to be on the okay to meh albums of 2024 video by the end of the year. But overall, 6 out of 10 for this record. Thanks for watching this album review today.